Good afternoon, folks. In today's video, we're going to be going over 5 players that the Detroit Lions could look to trade before the NFL trade deadline. This list came from A to Z Sports. Mike Payton dropped an article today about it. So we're going to go over these players, and these players have been mentioned so far throughout this season. So it's a lot of these names, it's not going to be a significant surprise. Now, the trade deadline is November 4 at 1 p.m. That's where all the teams got to be able to, put up their trades they want to do. After that, obviously you can't trade. They pushed the trade deadline back 1 week from last year because that's what they should do, honestly, right? The trade deadline should be pushed back because of injuries. Again, this list came from A to Z Sports. Mike Payton. Check his article out if you want to read what he says about these said players and why he had them. So go ahead and check that out. First player in no particular order, Riq Woolen. He has been mentioned multiple times, specifically on this channel, because he has been on the trade market. He's a cornerback. Lions need corner, right? We're down a lot of corners. He's a big body guy, 6'4", 210 pounds, young at 26, still on his rookie deal. It would cost financially nothing to get him, and that's what Brad Holmes likes to do. Likes to save money. Got big contracts coming up. He would be cheap. To get him, it wouldn't be much. Mike Payton's got a 5th-round pick. I think you could probably get him for a 6th-round pick because they're really good over there with DBs. It's just not working out. They're probably wanting to get rid of him because they're not going to bring him back after his rookie deal. I think it would be a good idea to go for Riq Woolen. I don't know if he'd be a culture fit, right? The Dan Campbell type of guy. That's something that they would have to figure out. But in regards to what we need, size, speed, age, financial ramifications, this all makes perfect sense for a Dan Campbell type of move and a Brad Holmes type of move. Low end, low cheap. You got the draft picks and immediately help. He's not going to be the biggest name out there, but for what the Lions want, it would be a smart decision. And I would approve of it. I would. I think it'd be smart. I just want to have a secure secondary. Will the Lions make a trade before the trade deadline? T for trade, P for pass. Next player on the list here is DJ Humphries, offensive tackle. You say, what the? Offensive lineman? Well, yeah, heck, the Lions have a lot of injuries. Giovanni Manu, IR. Taylor Decker dealing with the shoulder injury. Dan Skipper, he was injured too, right? He's been dealing with it. What would it take to get him? 7th-round pick. That's nothing. We have 2 7th-round picks. If the Lions want to just have an extra depth at tackle, I'm not gonna complain about that. Do I think they do it? No. You'd just be a backup, so this would be a low-end move. 7th-round pick backup. Right? So it's not going to be something that is going to be any sort of obligation that's going to hurt the Lions at all with Humphries. 0. I don't necessarily believe we need to make this move. I think Dan Skipper is good enough at the tackle position. Taylor Decker is going to be coming back from his injury. They've been resting him. And at some point, Manu will come back as our number 3. But I am fine with the Lions' depth. Now, if they want to bring in a Humphries just for extra depth, hell, it's a 7th-round pick. You're not going to hear me complain. But I do think that there is other moves that the Lions could make that's a little bit more pressing, i.e. cornerback position, edge position, than this. But with that said, again, for a 7th-round pick, I don't think anybody would complain about that. It'd be hard-pressed to complain giving up a 7th-round pick for a player that will give you a security at that tackle position. So I can totally understand it and why the Lions would want to make a move like this. Now, the trade deadline is is something that we have done before. Like, I hear a lot that we don't make moves and we don't make trades, that the Lions are not going to make a move at the trade deadline. That's completely incorrect. We've actually made a lot of trades. A lot of trades, right? We obviously had the Goff trade, the Trinity Benson trade, Zadarius Smith trade. There's been some low-end trades, too, throughout the tenure with Brad Holmes. So, legit, these are targets that the Lions could look at. And if you're obviously looking at the teams that they're playing on are bad, right? So you have a good team in Detroit, bad teams that they're looking at, bad teams wanting to get draft capital, Lions trying to get win now mode. So it makes sense, right? Name one player you want the Detroit Lions to trade for in the comments right now. Next player on the list is Jaelan Phillips, pass rusher, the Miami Dolphins. He has been mentioned before. Again, Miami Dolphins' cheeks. It's only a matter of time before they fire their head coach. They're going to be selling off. What would it take to get a Jaelan Phillips? A 6th-round pick? I'm down for it. To get an extra pass rusher to help this team out? Absolutely, I'd do that. It secures a spot where Al-Qadim Muhammad goes down. Okay, you got Jaelan Phillips. We already know Marcus Davenport's down. Well, you got Jaelan Phillips, another guy in there. He's got nice size, right? Not too bad there. What he has done. 10 solo tackles, 1 sack, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions so far this year. Low-end deal that would help the Lions out at the edge position. And this, again, I like Mike Payton's decision here, throwing him in the mix, and I do concur. Absolutely. Pass rusher, pass rusher, pass rushers. I'm all about pass rushers. This list is full of them. Cornerbacks, too, pass rushers, and that's where the list obviously is going to be on here. It's the big list right there, but Jaelan Phillips could help the Lions out. A player on my list. And another player that he's got here is Arden Key. I talked about him last year. I would have loved to got him in the offseason. Arden Key's been pretty damn good. Now, he's not the typical size the Lions are looking for. Little bit undersized, right? 240 pounds. They like the bigger guys. They like the Davenport size and the Pascal size. But he's a pass rusher. Use him on pass rushing downs if you don't fully believe he can do anything on the run game, in which he can. But he can get after the quarterback. He's not exactly what the Lions want. I don't care. He can sack quarterbacks. He can get to the quarterback. That's what we need here in Detroit. What would it take to get an Arden Key? Just like the rest of this list. Not much. A 6th-round pick. A 6th-round pick. Folks, that's nothing. We have 2 6th and 2 7th-round picks. And here's the thing when it comes to these draft picks. I was just on radio last night talking about it. ESPN. The Lions got 2 6ths and 2 7ths. Do any of you believe that's listening to this right now that if they're to say with the exact draft picks that we have, that 2 6ths and 2 7ths will make this team next year? No. I don't see that happening. I think it'd be a wasted draft pick. So why not use one of these draft picks on a player that can help you out right now in a Super Bowl winning mode? Even if it is for the 1-year rental or this year rental, I would take this season rental over getting a player next year that potentially won't even make on the team and or potentially just going on the practice squad and getting poached by another team. Because that's the situation that we're in right now with this roster. We were in it last year. We're in it this year. So I have 0 issues bringing in a player like Key to unlock the pass rush that we currently have on this roster. Do you think that the Lions will make a trade? That's going to be the main comment for this video. T for trade, P for pass. The final player on Peyton's list here is one that would definitely make a significant difference, but it is a higher trade. That's Kayvon Thibodeaux. And we like Thibodeaux, right? He's actually doing really good for the Giants so far this year. 11 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks. He has been a beast for them so far. Beast. And boy, oh boy. Couldn't you just match up Hutch with Thibodeaux? Same players in the same draft. That would look delicious and yummy. And I would like to get after Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, whoever the quarterback for the Vikings is. And he can go ahead and take a chance against Philadelphia when we go back to Philadelphia, as he is a Giants guy. So that would be cool. The problem here is, financially, it's not going to cost a lot because he's still on his rookie deal. Okay? But it's going to cost you a second-round pick. And I do agree that's what it would take. And that's a lot of draft capital for Brad Holmes. We've talked about 6 and 7s. But when you're giving up 1st and 2nds, that's tough. And a second-round pick is tough. Now, in the last couple of years, what we've seen for second-round picks, we've done good in some of them, like Brian Branch. Not so much like Levi and Wuzurike, so it's a risk. But if the Lions are trying to win a Super Bowl now, I would not argue with this move. Why? Because I want a championship. I'm not going to lie. I want it. And I would attempt to do it. It would probably be a 1-year rental, so that's the negative part. It'd be an all-in type of move. But why not make the choice? Do I think that Brad Holmes does this one? Probably not. I'd do a low-end move. That's probably the route that he goes. But give me your thoughts about this in the comments below. With that said, folks, adios.